Ladies and gentlemen, please return to your seats for the final of the Junior Women's Epee, which will start in 2 minutes.
Well, welcome to the 5th day of the championships here in Newcastle. It's the 2018 Commonwealth Championships for cadets and juniors. We've had the cadet competition and we've moved on to the junior events, and we've got 3 individual gold medal matches coming up. Let's get the athletes out onto the field of play.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to your fences and referees in the final of the Junior Women's Saturday. Representing Scotland, Alex Stewart. Your fans, Laura Sheffield, representing England. The referees are Juliana of Italy, Suzanne of Canada, assisted by Grace of Australia, and Ernest Child of Singapore. Good luck, referees, please start.
Well, they're ready to get underway. Juliana Ranza is our piste referee, and on video it's Suzanne Voigt. But the fencers are Alex Stewart of Scotland up against Laura Sheffield of England, and it's another England-Scotland battle. You've got a bit of Wales in me, Karen Bashir in the commentary box, with Scotland represented by Sean Walton. Welcome back, Sean.
Good to be back. Nice to see you.
Very good to see you. Now, Sean, we did a bit of division of labour, as you put it on the podcast
Yeah.
the other night, and we've done split the semi-final. So let's hear about your one.
Well, I watched the All England clash between Alexandra Powell and Laura Sheffield, which obviously Laura emerged from, and a fairly comfortable win. It was a little cagey at start, non-combativity after a minute in the first period, but after that Sheffield took a lead, stretched it out, and in the end a pretty comfortable win with a 15-9 finish. And she looked a quality fencer. I mean, I've seen a bit of Laura fencing before. She took a bronze medal at the European Cadet Championships last season, and clearly a high quality fencer.
Yeah, very, very good fencing. And Alex, well, she had an interesting fight. She likes to look around the guard of her opponent and likes to attack with beats, coached by Andy Aldermont. Very neat and tidy for sure. So this should be an interesting matchup. Yeah,
I mean, I think the challenge for Alex is the less experience, still a cadet, is to see if she can impose her game on Laura and really stop Laura from dominating, which is kind of the risk with the sort of taller, more experienced fencer.
Well, they are underway, and Laura Sheffield on the right. Very, very tall and uses her reach. But to be fair, Alex Stewart's pretty tall as well, so the distance benefit that sometimes Laura gets from being able to fence outside a shorter fence distance is slightly negated here.
Yeah, I think it will be here. I mean, it's interesting. Both fencers do like to get hold of the blade, so it's not like either one of them is just using their height to outreach the other one. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who manages to get that control of the blade and the distance early, and whoever does, I think will, strong chance of going on to take the win.
Well, it's not unexpected in épée for it to be a patient, cagey start, and we have got that here. Both fencers feeling each other out.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to throw themselves in there right at the start and gamble big. I don't think. They're both going to have a bit of a look, choose the moment, try a few things out, see where they can get the gains.
Well, Alex Stewart is trying to press a little bit. She does want to try and create something. Laura Sheffield working a bit more reactively.
Nice attack there from Laura. Picked the moment, got hold of the lead, as I said, and in there with the flesh. It is a tall fencer's flesh. It doesn't have the explosion of some of the shorter epius that we see, so it kind of runs on, even if it doesn't hit kind of straight away. It keeps pressing and pressing and pressing until eventually the hit arrives. But a nice hit, well timed.
The positioning of Sheffield's sword arm is very extremely disciplined, but it's quite wide, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, both of them hands pretty well forward. I mean, for two fencers that both like to get the blade, that's perhaps a little bit of surprise, but the way they get hold of it, both of them, is is pretty firm, and they both try to do things off it. So they'll collect, press the point forward, see if they get a reaction.
Well, Sheffield pressed almost to the back line there, deciding that she had to take the fight a little bit to Alex Stewart. Stewart gets off the mark.
Yeah, with my Scottish supporters hat on, I'm good to see Stewart getting on the board and not letting the fight get away from her.
She's definitely the one that's been more proactive in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's her style. She wants to make stuff happen. I mean, it's not going to rush, but yeah, she wants to.
Well, we go into our first break. Laura Sheffield has the bragging rights from the first period, but it's not by much, Sean.
No, it's still early days, and it does have the feel of a first period where both fences are kind of testing each other out and trying to get a feel for what's happening. And
there is Laura Sheffield with coach Richard Lloyd-Jones, LJ, as he's known on the circuit.
I had a good chat with his mum today, Maggie. It was really good to catch up with her. But Richard's at work here, and it'd be interesting to see what he advises, whether there's any sort of big change from what she's stretched out a 2-hit lead in the first period. So maybe I'll be tempted to say yes, more of the same.
But what's Andy going to be saying down the other end?
Well, I would have thought, don't panic. Just you're only a couple of hits down. It's still early in the fight. You don't need to go mad at this stage.
And I think she found her way a little bit with the pressing. She started to pick up a little bit of the distance when she was pressing towards the end.
Yeah, I think it's the right idea. It's really just how well she can execute that tactic and what she can turn that pressure into.
Well, they're underway in the second period here. Remember, this is the gold medal match in the individual women's épée for juniors, so the fencers under the age of 20 years old. Nice hit around the guard there.
Neat hit there.
And we talked about experience in Sheffield. She was a bronze medalist at the European Championships. So
yeah, big results. I mean, she has had decent results at European cadet level previously, and now moving up into the juniors. I mean, certainly she's, I would say, probably the brightest hope of the young British women's épéists at the moment.
And young enough to drag a few with her, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a strong scene at the moment in women's épée.
Well, getting all tangled up in the middle. Sheffield actually ends up with her back to her opponent, and I'm wondering whether Ranza, the referee, is going to give a card there.
Doesn't look like it. I think it was turned in the process of toppling off the edge of the piece, so a card would seem harsh at that point.
And we said Sheffield being coached by Richard Lloyd-Jones here. She's actually from Brixton Fencing Club and coached under Oana Puyu, I think is how you pronounce it.
Well pronounced, yeah, that was a good bit of work there. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the challenges of when you represent your country. Quite often you won't have your personal coach there. So developing a good working relationship with the squad or team coaches is an important part of getting the most out of your performance at the championships.
Alex Stewart is Dunfermline fencer. That's her hometown. West Fife Fencing Club under Ken Rose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, same situation for Alex, in that her regular coach in Ken isn't here, so she's under the guidance of Andy for today.
Well, third at the British Cadet National Championships, a bronze medal there. She got silver in the Junior National Championship, so
yeah, that's
she's
right.
got some results.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I perhaps underplayed the strength of Cadet and Junior Women's Epee in Scotland the other day when I was talking in the podcast about Scotland's being in the underdogs when they took gold in the Cadet Women's Epee teams. But yeah, again, it's a strong group. I mean, that's yeah, certainly across Scotland and England. There's plenty of talent out there in women's epee at the moment.
Yeah, we've been waxing lyrical about that. The performances of the Indians, the Australians have been fencing very well, but the home nations, there's some promise, maybe not quite across the board, but I think women's epee is a place where the home nations, we expected to see the home nations at the later stages.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, as I said, it's a very strong group. So I mean, a 3-hit lead. It's still perfectly within range. I would think the fencers will probably just see out the end of this period to the minute break. So a 2-hit lead at the end of the first break, stretching to 3 now. Still a lot of time though, 3 minutes, and yeah, three hits.
But they've kept
nothing in it.
No, I mean there is plenty of time. So, but they've kept it very level. But they have also been. It's not been a fight where there's just a hit every minute and it's quite boring. They have actually been playing with each other and trying to work out distance throughout that whole 3-minute period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, neither of them are going to rush in there. It's not their style. But yeah, when the opportunity's there, going for the hit.
We get to see Richard Lloyd-Jones there in the red T-shirt giving Laura Sheffield some instructions. And well, how's your hand signal reading, Sean?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually what he's looking for there. I mean, it is a difficult job. I've been in that position where I've been a squad coach and having to work with fencers that I'm unfamiliar with, and it's always difficult to know how far you look to guide them. Certainly no technical advice, but yeah, just helping them to read the fight really is the thing. So I would say usually what you're looking for is a discussion. So do you see the fight the same way that I do? This is what I'm seeing. What do you think? So you're trying to get that bit of sort of rapport with the fencer and get so it's a team decision about what tactics you want the fencer to go with.
Well, an important job, but their work is done now. The coaches have to sit back and watch out these last 3 minutes.
So Alex starting to feel that she perhaps has to press a little bit harder now with us into the third and final period, and Laura picking the moment on the sort of pressure from Alex to launch a flesh attack into that.
Just dancing just a tiny little bit with a bit more intensity, Laura Sheffield now. A bit more on her toes. And I think that perhaps that was one of the instructions from Richard Lloyd-Jones, just to stay a little bit more mobile.
Yeah, because with Alex behind, she is going to have to force the pace a little bit. So I would think the instruction from Richard would probably be, be alert and be ready for that happening.
Yeah, but would you say, you know your epee much better than I do, but would you say that this is just a tiny little bit early though from Alex Stewart pressing this early? Into
3 minutes
3
can be a
minutes?
long time. Yeah, I think maybe she's gone a fraction too soon, but we'll see. I mean, it's still only. I mean, it is still a 3-hit gap.
Yeah, but Sheffield sort of in a position to manage the lead a little bit here. She's not taken any risks, really.
Yeah, I mean, there has been a kind of flurry of hits in this third period, so that now Sheffield is almost within view of the finish.
Yeah, and a double is much more favourable to Sheffield than it is to Stewart, because she gets close to that magic score.
Yeah, indeed.
Whilst maintaining the gap, of course, to
her
opponent. Yeah. Trying to take the blade there, and again, turning around a little bit. Not sure that's the the best choice for her. Twice she's tried that, and twice it's failed, and she's nearly been hit.
Yeah, both times she's been looking to make the flesh into Alex's step forward, and has been parried, but managed to sort of pull out of the flesh attack and a bit off balance and toppling off the piece altogether first time round, and almost going again there.
Oh, that's nice there.
That is
Little
good work.
faint one-sided disengage around the parry, opened up the body side of the target. Sheffield is 2 away from becoming the Commonwealth champion.
Yeah, nicely done. Picked the moment on Alex Stewart, step forward and attempting to pick up the blade and choosing the moment well to launch the flesh attack.
And this time another attack from Sheffield. Stewart, a little bit, for just a couple of hits now, has just maybe switched off a tiny bit. You can understand the pressure here on the podium piece. Sheffield going in to take the blade high, eventually dropping down into octave and closing out into the low line. And she is the 2018 Junior Women's Epee Commonwealth champion.
Yeah, a well-deserved win and some quality fencing there. Really pleased for Alex Stewart. It's a great result with a silver medal here, and she gave it a right good go, but I think she ran into an opponent that was just had a little bit too much for her today.
Great fencing from both fencers to get here, and just in the end it was Laura Sheffield who just had a little bit too much for Stewart in the end, but Stewart will be on the podium a little bit later on today. We're going to have just a little mini break in the proceedings on the field of play whilst they change over to our second gold medal match. So, Sean, you had a couple of days off.
Yeah, I did. Well, days off from being here, but actually back at work. So yeah, I don't know. It's not quite a day off. A couple of days off. Did enjoy watching the live streams though with your 3 refereeing co-commentators. I thought they did a really good job, and thoroughly enjoyed getting their view on proceedings.
Yeah, and thank you to all 3 of them for coming and giving their time, because they're working hard all day. So,
yeah.
And we haven't really mentioned the referees too much on our live stream, but they're working very hard, and mainly with smiles on their faces.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, they're largely an experienced bunch of referees, lots of familiar faces in there, lots of high quality international standard refereeing that we've seen, and yeah, it was good of them to come in and offer their insight, I thought.
Certainly was. Now, I've also got news for you. This commentating job seems to you seem to have found a new fan base.
Oh really? I'm very surprised and flattered.
I can tell you that, and I know your fan is listening tonight. I double checked to find out. A big shout out to Sue Davison, who said Beth's mum.
Oh right. Oh, well, hello Sue. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
She's enjoying your dulcet tones. You have one fan. so there's going to be 2 people listening, your fan and mine. But in all honesty, the live stream here has gone down really well, making history, the first Commonwealth Championships with live broadcast. And it's a great start, and it's been brilliant. The thing about this championships is when it's got down to the quarterfinals, they turn the whole thing into a showcase of the fencers and the referees, and everyone's paraded out with music blaring and lights flashing. They've really done a great job of presenting this sport. Yeah,
I mean, it does look fantastic. We have said it earlier on in the week, but it does bear repeating because the setup's fantastic. It's the raised piece, the lighting looks superb, the interactive screen in the background, and the whole thing's genuinely world class in its presentation.
Excellent stuff. Well, we are still waiting for the I think they're trying to muster the athletes and referees, and sometimes it does take a little bit of time at the end of a long day, and it has been a big day today. 3 big tournaments, all incomplete 64. Sorry, the women's sabre was a 32, but 2 incomplete 64s, which adds another hour or so today. But it does look like we may well be ready. So let's welcome the next pair of athletes out for a gold medal match in men's foil. Well, here we go. It's time for the men's foil, junior men's foil gold medal match, and it's an all-England affair. Sean, you watched one of the semi-finals?
Yeah, I did. I picked up the Connor Head against Nicholas Holland semi-final. So Nicholas Holland, one of the silver medalists in the Cadet event from Canada, and yeah, a fairly close-fought fight early on in it. Connor took a marginal lead, but yeah, impressed again with young Holland. Lots of variety in his fencing, really keeping Connor on his toes and keeping him guessing about what was coming up next. So hitting with remise and counter attacks and parry, lots of variety, and there's no real obvious pattern to his fencing. So it made Connor work really hard for the win. But in the end, he had too much power, too much speed. Probably just too much experience for the young Canadian in the end, and came out with probably in the end a reasonably comfortable 15-9 win. He looked the more complete package, and Holland's job looked to be to try and disrupt that as much as possible, and couldn't quite do it in the end.
It was 15-9 in the other semi-final between Harry Bird and Dominic de Almeida, an interesting one because I think they know each other so well. Lads that are good friends as well. They know they compete on the international circuit together. But Harry was just a little bit more direct and a straight to target attacks on preparation, and Dominic fenced very well, but he just didn't adjust enough to the direct approach from Harry Bird. But we are about to get underway. It's Tom Ewan of Canada who's going to referee this final. Harry Bird of England up against his compatriot Connor Head for the gold in junior men's foil. Yeah,
I don't know how clearly this will come across if you're watching on the video, but these are two big units. They are big, powerful guys, and that's something that I really noticed today watching the first day of the juniors after watching the cadets earlier on in the week, is the rise in the power and speed and physicality of the whole thing, particularly in men's foil, and these two guys are really an epitome of that.
Yeah, they really are. And you have given me a golden opportunity, Sean Walton. I used the phrase big unit the other day, and what I meant, as you just meant, is they are tall athletes that bring a physical presence and additional reach advantage over their opponents.
And that's tall, powerful fencers.
And I used that to describe a fencer. She knows who she is because her father very kindly came to give me constructive criticism, and he told me that perhaps referring to a 17-year-old girl as a big unit is not the best thing.
It's maybe a less flattering term for female athletes, perhaps. Well, I think these guys would be perfectly happy with being described as big units.
I certainly think Harry would be. But my apologies to her. I meant because you're a nice tall fencer. That's what I was talking about.
I would only ever use it as a complimentary term.
Well, that's exactly how I used it. So here, though, these two big guys are actually feeling each other out. Harry Bird has opened up a little advantage, but it's just got a little tentative.
A little bit, yeah, but nicely picked moment for the attack there. I mean, my feeling on this would be that Harry is probably the favourite, more experienced. He's done a number of senior World Cups as well, been a regular in the British junior team for a number of years. Connor on the fringes of the GB team in the past, and probably less senior experience. But I was impressed with him in the semi-finals. I've seen less of him fencing, and again, a nicely timed attack there to get on the scoreboard.
It's interesting. I think the audience here, certainly the coaches, were a bit split on who they'd favour in this fight. And half said Connor, and the other half said Harry. So it's quite an interesting split. Coaches, Harry Bird is coached by old teammate of ours, actually, Johnny Weeks. Hey, Johnny, I'm sure he's watching. He's being looked after here by the England team management, because John is another coach that wasn't able to make it here.
I mean, it is one of those things where if you have a team with everybody has a different individual coach, you can't have everyone there. It's the kind of reality of it is that working with team coaches is a part of being in the team anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't take your club coach to everything. Dominic de Almeida, Harry Bird fences out of Sal Boston, and I'm sure John will be watching.
Yeah, and a fairly controlled performance from both fencers so far. Harry coming out better of that. And I'm starting to wonder, even this early in the fight, Connor needs to introduce something a little different to get back into him. He scored another hit there, so it's a small gap and it's still early in the fight. But at the moment they seem to be mirroring each other in their tactics, with Harry coming out the better of it at the moment.
Controlling the distance in defence, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's making Connor fall short. Nice and controlled when he takes up his own attack, and nice open-eyed finishing where the open target is.
Well, putting a bit of pressure on this could be good for Head. Trying to attack Harry Bird at his end of the piece, so he's got nowhere to escape to. He can't step over that back line.
Take that. Opening the defence up, opening the distance up to make Connor Head's attack fall short. It's been a really productive hit for Harry so far. And there, putting a bit more pressure on, forcing him to the back of the piece and taking that option away from him. Yeah, Connor losing control of the attack there, and Harry stepping in and closing the distance for a single light counter attack.
The mask wire has come detached from the mask. The bottom half of the bib is now target area in foil. How long ago is that? It's been a few.
It's been a few years now. I think 4 or 5 years. These sort of rule changes for people who watch fencing for a long time all seem much more recent than they actually are.
It's weird, isn't it?
Still talk about the recent timing changes as well. That's 13 years ago now.
Oh, not so if you're talking about Sabre. Only a couple of
Oh
years.
no, well, okay, yeah.
But actually, it's an interesting point. The timing change in foil, because they changed it a lot to try and reduce the number of flick hits that were happening, and then they kind of brought that back a little bit, not quite halfway back to where it was before. We are now starting to see the top athletes using the flick a bit more often.
I think there's nothing wrong with the flicks. It's when it became almost the default hit. And watching, if you go back and watch some of the older men's foil, some of it's genuinely terrible to watch, and really it's nothing like fencing. I think the balance now is actually pretty good.
Yep. And it's created an interesting thing as we go into the break, with Harry Bird in control of this one, using his feet very well. But yes, on the senior circuit, it has opened up an interesting thing where some of the older athletes who came from a time when the flick hit was the thing to do are winning competitions, and the younger ones have taken like nearly 2 seasons to learn not only how to perform the flick hit, but also how to defend it.
Yeah, I mean, for the younger fencers, it was the flick hit was really off the menu pretty much. It was a hit for special occasions when you were a long way up and you wanted a showboat finish to the fight.
Well, no coaches here for this one, as we look down at Harry Bird just taking on some fluids. There's Connor at the other end of the field of play.
Yeah, sort of standard practice when you've got 2 teammates, no coaches at the piece side for either of them, so they're left to defend for themselves. But it'll be interesting to see what Connor Head comes up with. If he comes up with something different in the second period, the 5-hit deficit, it's it's not absolutely fatal, but he probably needs to come up with something different to change the course of the match.
I quite like the idea of him pushing Harry Bird down. I'm completely neutral. I'm not favouring Connor, but in terms of tactical approach, I quite like the idea of him being pushed back to the back of his back line, Bird.
Yeah, I think it takes a hit that's been very successful for Bird in the fight so far, out of action. The only worry is that how far can he push before he runs the risk of being picked off with the counter-attack that Harry scored with towards the end of that period.
Yep. And also the fact that Harry Bird might not let him push him back to the back of the piece. He might push off the line as he did right at the beginning of that one. Now we're seeing the use of the blade to establish the right of way. Well, as if by magic you predicted the counters coming in. That was a nice little stop hit, just landing on the arm, so off target.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I was talking about with a fencer recently. You know, is that considered poor form to break up the opponent's long sort of preparation of the attack by picking them off on the hand? We didn't reach a definite conclusion actually whether that was poor form or not. What do you think?
That's a tough question. It's part of the rules. It's in the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose the real question is, if you're good enough to pick someone off on the hand as they're coming forward, why wouldn't you put your efforts into hitting the target? I know
that much further away.
I know the hand and why they're doing it, but
because trying to make the stop hit the body then exposes you to the opponent finishing the attack.
Yeah.
Whereas you just break things up, you pick them off in the hand. Referee goes on guard ready, and you're back to square one.
Yeah, it's a spoiling tactic for sure.
It is pretty much, yes.
Much more active going backwards, Connor Head. Trying to mess up the distance from Harry Bird to stop the attack, or give Harry Bird something to think about when to attack.
That's really nice timing.
And that's why Connor Head's not going too close. He's trying not to get too close to Harry Bird before he starts his attack, because he's vulnerable to that wonderful attacking preparation.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it's Harry Bird has shown the sharper timing. I think that's really what's been key to him taking the lead in this fight, and to some degree looking in control of things. And a couple of really nice hits in a row there. Another well-timed attack off target this time. Yeah, but it does feel that Harry is controlling the fight.
Yeah.
He's in charge of things.
Yeah, totally agree. Even when being pressed to his back line, Harry Bird looks in control. He's decided now to come out on the attack, and that's working for him as well. And he's just 3 away from the gold medal here in Newcastle. Yeah,
most of the forced changes in tactics had been made to happen by Bird, and that's why he's dominating the fight. So I think Conor he had a brief moment, as you said, where he looked to press and force the action to Harry Bird's end of the piece. But yeah, most of the change and most of the smart moves have been from Harry.
Yeah, and both go at the same time, but only one light there, and that was following a parry riposte which failed from Connor Head. Bird hitting with Ramiz. He's now just 1 point away, and I'm not sure what's going on with Connor Head there, but he's walked down to the end of the piece. Wow.
Not sure. Painful hit somewhere?
I don't know.
There's nothing obvious.
No,
It's when he
no.
didn't collapse the piece, didn't clutch anything, just ambled off the end of the piece, and a few deep breaths. Not sure what it was.
Well, they're back underway now. Harry Bird 1 away, going for the big one at the end.
There we go.
Jumps up in the end, flips to back to win the Commonwealth gold medal in junior men's foil.
Thank you very much, Harry, for that perfect demonstration of a showboat final hit. An impressive performance. He really did look a smart, tactically well put together, technically nice fencer. It's a thoroughly impressive performance. Enjoyed that. I do like my quality men's foil, and that was some good stuff there. I like that.
And after that thoroughly technical and beautiful fencing, lots of variety, hits into preparation, he's throwing a little bit of a remise there to finish off with the circus move. It shows that he's got a bit of personality in his fencing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Always, a leaping flick to back always always pleases the crowd.
Well, for a man who has described himself as dynamite on his bio, that certainly was a dynamite finishing hit.
It was. I mean, it was a relatively cagey start to the fight, but once they got into it and as the fight developed tactically, Harry Bird came up with the goods there. Dynamite, I like that. So it does demonstrate a certain confidence, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and sometimes people can be overconfident, but he's a real deal. He's really good, and he's taken out a few people along the way today. Edward Lee of Canada, probably the most notable. He was the number 1 seed coming into the direct elimination stage today, knocking out Dominic de Almeida as well. No mean feat.
Yeah, I think if I'd been pressed at the start of the day as to who I thought my favourite was, Dominic probably would have been the name that I would have come up with, but to beat him 15-9, I did watch a little bit of the fight kind of out the corner of my eye, and again, similar sort of confidence at, wherever he was in the piste from Harry Bird in that fight, and he sort of disrupted, it looked like he disrupted Dominic's game plan enough that Dominic couldn't quite get a handle on the fight, was how it looked to me.
Yeah,
I know you described it earlier, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And
it's like angular view for me, so maybe not totally accurate.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was an interesting semi-final, but it's Conor Head who's going to walk away with silver. Harry Bird with the gold medal here in Newcastle. Now we are waiting for the fences to come out, so I am going to take this opportunity, Sean, to ask you about the semi-final that you watched in the women's sabre, because that's the next gold medal match coming up.
So far, even after the 2 finals that we've just watched, for me that has been the fight of the day, because it was absolutely tremendous. Let me just get my notes.
Yeah, so Sean watched the fight between Sophia Potter of England and Kaur Hussainpreet of India. Potter was quite a long way up at one point, wasn't she?
Certainly, she was 8-4 up at the break and looked pretty much in control of things. But Kaur stuck with it. She came up with a variety of ways to break up, because, to be honest, Potter probably looked the more complete fencer in the first period, and it seemed more of almost an effort of will for Kaur to stay in the fight. But she stayed super calm.
Yeah.
No panic. Took a parry riposte when she could. Picked up hits in the middle with good acceleration. Followed the coach's instructions, and they were pretty much constant from the side of the piste. Yeah. And eventually leveled the fight up at 13-all. Potter went 14-13. I thought, maybe she's going to edge over the line, but at 14-all, really nice attack from Kaur to take the win. And it was seesaw stuff. Second half, Kaur clawing back, edging back up, and eventually levelling it and taking the win. It was a tremendous fight. If you didn't watch it earlier on, I would go pick the replays of the live stream from that.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely be going back to watch that fight, because the one semi-final I watched was over before the one you watched, and I caught the end of it, and it was great just to see the last 5-6 hits. It was a really interesting fight. But I picked up the other semi-final between Shreya Anil and Beth Taylor. The Northern Irish fencer was targeting a 16 here at the juniors.
Okay.
And the Northern Irish team are absolutely delighted with the bronze medal.
Yeah.
And you have to say, in that semi-final, Anil just had a bit too much for her overall. She was very good, lots of variety. We're going to be using that word a lot probably when we're talking about sabre when we do this in 10 years' time, and through the 10 years of doing this. And what Shreya Anil did was she used Beth's speed against her off the line, and that's what took her to victory. But turning around to see your fight, it looks like the athletes may be ready. So I'm going to finish that thought whilst we introduce our athletes for the gold medal match in women's sabre.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to your fencers and referees in the final of the Junior Women's Sabre.
Well, there you have it. The finalists are out for the last gold medal match of day 5 here in Newcastle, and it's Shreya Anil of England up against Harmanpreet Kaur of India. Our referee will be Domenico Pastori of Italy, and the video referee, well, it's a return to refereeing duties on this finals night for Thomas Nguyen. So, Sean, we were talking about the two semi-finals. Anil came through fairly comfortably 15-6, but that fight between Kaur and Potter, really magical. And I caught the end of it. I know you gave your summary, you watched the whole fight, and I only caught the end, so I have a question for you. Did Kaur pick up the patterns? I think that it looked from the last 5 or 6 hits that Kaur knew what Potter was going to do next.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I'm not going to pass myself off as any kind of sabre referee, but a description that John Salfield, the British sabre coach, gave to me was that a lot of sabre is like a sort of super advanced version of rock, paper, scissors. Which sounds like a game of chance, but it's not. It's about recognising patterns of behaviour from the opponent, and I think you're absolutely right that Kaur was better at doing that towards the end of the fight, which allowed her to, first of all, to stay in the fight, and at the end put together a run of hits because she recognised what the opponent was going to do next. I suppose the question is, as you say, Anil's an experienced international fencer. I've seen a bit of her fencing and I've been thoroughly impressed. Technically very competent. How quickly, well, both fencers, I suppose, can recognise the patterns in the other fencer's fencing.
Well, what's interesting for me at the start of this match, this gold medal match, is the first step from Kaur off the line. It's quite slow.
Yeah, as I've become more familiar with watching sabre, the first step of the preparation kind of sets the tone for how the fencer looks. So you're right, Kaur's first step, very slow. I mean, if you're looking for a more familiar international name, Olga Karlan's super slow first step, which gives you a whole lot of time to see what's happening at the other end.
Yeah, certainly advantage for India here in this first period. The fencers will go up to 8 hits before the referee calls for a break. And at the moment, it's Kaur in the middle that's got control of this. I feel that Anil may need to start breaking this out of the middle. And it's that slow step that's really playing into the hands of Kaur and the Indians. She can see Anil coming forwards. Anil can work out whether to do that stop or whether to finish her attack. And once she's done that slow step, she's got a super fast attack.
Yeah, the acceleration is great. And it's an interesting contrast in the preparation steps from the two fencers. If you look at the stutter step from Anil and the contrast with the slow step from Kaur, it's interesting to see which one's, well, taking the dominance at the moment. The Indians stretching out to a 4-hit lead early in the fight.
And I don't think Anil's doing too much wrong, but because Kaur's looking every time she's stepping forward, that slow step, she's able to see what her opponent's doing. I think Anil may be making some decisions early doors.
Yeah, maybe at the moment, to me anyway, it looks like Shreya is made the decision what's going to happen early. It's already predetermined. So she comes off the line, this is what I'm going to do. Whereas Kaur seems just a little more adaptable. Now that's bigger, slightly faster step didn't look such a great idea for me there. And Julie, Anil picks up the hit.
Yeah, a little bit of, I think, deceptive actually. Let's see if Anil does this again. A little double step, but it's on the spot. She's not moving forwards.
Yeah, a couple of quick steps, stops, has a look for the parry, decided that's what's going to happen, is my feeling.
Yeah, I think she's changed. That's happened so fast, Sabre.
Yeah, nice time in the attack there from Anil. It's a moment's hesitation for Kaur on the step forward.
And I think again, it was an attack from Anil. So I think she's now started to pick the timing, Anil, but she was hit with a parry riposte at the end then. And Kaur is 8-4 up, but I'm starting to see signs of a change in tactics from Anil. Yeah,
I think she's found herself a few hits down, and the change has almost been forced upon her to try and come up with something a little bit different to break up Kaur's rhythm.
Yeah, great fencing from India here, and could they get the third gold medal of the championships? I spoke to the Indian. You missed a brilliant evening with the men's team épée. It was the atmosphere in here was unbelievable, and I walked up to them afterwards and said, "Is that the first gold medal?" And what I meant was the first team gold medal.
Yeah.
Because I knew that they got a gold medal.
They're like, no, you don't pay attention yesterday.
Exactly.
You watched this.
It was a very funny moment. I went, no, team gold. So one individual gold, one team gold, both in men's épée. We're in a completely different weapon here.
Yeah.
Indian fencing has come on leaps and bounds, and it's not. Sometimes you see a nation emerging, and usually if they choose one weapon, it is épée. But they look like they've got the real deal across the board.
Yeah, it's really. I think they picked up seven medals from the cadet events, and in the boss seat for possibly another gold here in the women's sabre.
I think they might be, but Anil showed signs of changing tactics at the end of the first period. And she cuts off the line, and we have our first video appeal from Kaur. Each fencer will get 2 appeals in a match to politely ask the referee to review the video. If their appeal is upheld, they'll keep it. If the decision's not changed by the referee, they lose that appeal. So a bit like tennis.
Yes, exactly. Referee Pastore giving it a parry riposte to Anil, and Kaur straight on the case to call for a video review. She's not convinced that there was any blade contact there at all, and that her attack's just gone through.
Well, they're having a good old look at this. Dominica Pastore of Italy with Thomas Nguyen of Canada on the video. Thomas Nguyen will give his opinion, but ultimately the decision is down to the field of play referee Pastore. And a card? No, I thought a card was coming out. It was just turning his audio back on.
Yeah, and there it is, overturned. I must admit I didn't hear any sound of blade contact when Anil was looking for the parry, and I was surprised, but there's a parry riposte for you.
That was very good. Nice slow step in, drew the attack in a nice simple block. Changes up to an attack. Now she's taking out the middle Anil. But that's the danger if you open things up at the back. You have to have an incredibly strong defence. Kaur is looking very good for this one.
Yeah, it is a gamble taking it out in the middle of the piece by breaking distance. Nice the time to attack, that's sharp acceleration.
It's not fast enough for the parry there, couldn't get across the body for Anil. Over the back line, Anil stepped over the back line, and she's gifted a hit to Kaur.
Yeah, that is painful, and the more steady pressure there from the Indian advancing and keeping the pressure on there, but yeah, stepping over the back line is a painful way to lose a hit.
That's her attack though. Anil, the English fencer, trying to find something here. The crowd are trying to get behind her as well.
Yeah, the sort of variety that you were talking about. Anil's having to come up with a lot more now to try and get back into the fight. But a couple of hits there in a row.
Yeah, she looks like she's remained calm. She's fencing calmly and picks up the blade that time, establishes the right of way, and Kaur walks in with a counter attack. And Daniel Redshaw, the coach on the side of the piece for Shreya Anil, is trying to big up the crowd and get the crowd shouting to help her along. And all of a sudden the Indians have started cheering loudly. The atmosphere has got electric in here.
Yeah, again, beautiful timing. Picks that moment on the step to launch the feinted chest, and looks for the parry and finishing the hit under the arm.
Oh, brave. Very, very brave. Stepped into distance, took a half step back. Beautiful para riposte from Anil.
Yeah, going big in the para riposte. That was a nice hit.
Oh, now it's tense. Now it's very tense. Another slow step from Anil. Steps into the middle, sees that she can close out and hit with the attack. Both find a blade. Both looked for a blade.
Here. Yeah. Good call.
I've got to get one right.
You make enough. Yeah, it's become a little more cautious again. Neither fence are really willing to take the gamble in the middle of the piece. And we got a succession of simultaneous attacks. I wasn't so sure about that one. I thought there was maybe a slight hesitation, but not calling it.
Ah, this time there is. 2 slow steps from Kao is enough for Shreya Anil to strike back, and guess what? She's levelled up at 13 all. She was miles behind.
Yeah, that's a strong effort and some smart tactical variations to drag her way back into the fight.
Oh, lovely from Anil. Stepped in, lured the attack, stepped away, the distance trap, and then launched the attack. She's one away from becoming the champion here. And she's done it! Shreya Anil from miles behind has fought her way back very cleverly and beautifully calmly. And she is the 2018 Junior Women's Sabre gold medalist at the Commonwealth Fencing Championships.
Some brilliant tactical flexibility there to get back into the fight from a long, long way down. And she did hit with pretty much almost every variation of a sabre that you can think of. Really impressive stuff.
A couple of real corkers at the end there. Even when she got level, she maintained this idea of keeping eyes open, looking into the middle. The lovely distance trap to take her to 14. Really good. And a couple of superb para ripostes.
Yeah, it was. As I say, I mean, we do like to see a bit of variety in sabre, and took her a while to get into the fight, but yeah, full range there towards the end of it.
Brilliant stuff. Well, that concludes the fencing action here on the first day of the junior events of the Commonwealth Championships. The event continues tomorrow with the remaining 3 individual events. It's been great to have you back in the commentary box. You're staying now, aren't you?
Yes, I'll be here right through to the finish now, so unless I do something terrible while we're on air, I fear I'm going to be here in the commentary box with you for the rest of the championship.
Fantastic news. Well, thank you very much, Sean. And thanks to all of you for watching. We will be back tomorrow to bring you more from the 2018 Junior and Cadet Commonwealth Fencing Championships. Have a good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your fencers and the dignitaries for the 2018 Commonwealth Junior Women's Epee Championship Medal Ceremony. The medals will be presented by Janet Huggins, member of the Directoire Technique and member of the FIE Semi-Commission, accompanied by Helen Smith, President of the Commonwealth Fencing Federation. The bronze medal, representing India, Yaskirat Kaur Hayak. And the bronze medal representing England, Alexandra Powell. The silver medal representing Scotland, Alex Stewart. And the 2018 Junior Commonwealth Champion from England, Laura Sheffield. Will those who can please stand for the national anthem of England? gentlemen, please welcome your fencers and the dignitaries for the 2018 Commonwealth Junior Men's Foil Championship Medal Ceremony. The medals will be presented by Carol Schwelt, Honorary President of North East Region England Fencing, accompanied by Helen Smith, President of the Commonwealth Fencing Federation. The bronze medal, representing Canada, Nicholas Holland. And the bronze medal, representing England, Dominic Almeida. The silver medal, representing England, Connor Head. And the 2018 Junior Commonwealth Champion from England, Harry Bird. Will those who can please stand for the national anthem of England.
Dom, other way round.
Don't worry, Dom. Just do it. It's fine. It's fine.
Thank you, guys.
Please welcome your fencers and the dignitaries for the 2018 Commonwealth Junior Women's Sabre Championship Medal Ceremony. Will those who can, please stand for the national anthem of England.
ये सबसे अच्छा सिस्टम है लास्ट में और ये सबसे अच्छा इसको ऊपर पे हाँ ये सामने ठीक है
Other way round, Shreya. Like this? Yeah. So you put it in. Lift it to the crowns on top of your head.
ऐसे कोई ऐसा करने का रूल नहीं है कैसे भी पकड़ सकता है लेकिन अपना ही अच्छा हाँ टक गई छोड़ना ही पनिशमेंट है उसी से बुलाना है तो सबको अरे पनिशमेंट पूरा दिन खड़े हो ऐसे